Hey, what's going on, guys? So we're gonna be doing the next video, and this deals with evaluating expressions. Okay, so if we think back to what an expression is just a bunch of terms that has no equal sign, inequality. It's just something we can simplify, but we can't solve it. Okay, but what we've been doing, for instance, if you remember from the last video where we combined like terms, we would get an answer that had a bunch of variables. So 6x plus 22y minus 6, 5x squared plus 3x minus 3y, 5x minus 5. Okay. What we're going to do today is we're going to take similar expressions, but we're going to evaluate them. AKA, we're going to get a single number as our answer. So if you look here, we have the expression x plus 2 minus 3y. Okay. The only difference between evaluating expressions is simplifying them is that when you simplify them, you don't go as far as evaluating because you can't get rid of the variables. But the first step here is let's simplify this. So we have an x, a positive 2, and a minus 3x. This simplifies to a negative 2x plus 2. All right. Now that we simplified it, it also tells us that if x is equal to 2, what will our answer be once we evaluate it? So what you want to do is, when you get your simplified answer, is take every x variable and substitute a 2 in to that variable. Okay. A lot of times kids say plug in, switch. Those are all good words, but you want to really be sensitive about using real math terminology. So the real math terminology would be substitute. Now when you substitute, remember the mathematical operation that's going on between that variable and whatever it's attached to. And in this case, that's a negative 2. So since we have a negative 2x, the negative 2 and the x are actually being multiplied. So when you substitute the positive 2 in for x, it now becomes negative 2 times a positive 2 plus 2, which goes negative 4 plus 2, which simplifies to a negative 2. Okay. So again, when you evaluate expressions, simplify your expression, substitute in your variables, and you're good. Okay. So next one, we have 3x minus xy plus y squared. Okay. And it tells us here that if x is negative 1 and y is a positive 2. We can't simplify this at all because we have a 3x, an xy, and a y squared, so there's no terms that we can combine. So I'm just going to rewrite this once I substitute in negative 1 for x and a positive 2 for y. Okay, so now it's going to become 3 times negative 1 minus negative 1 times 2 plus 2 squared. Okay, now this one's tricky when we simplify because there's a bunch of negative signs, there's multiplication going on, yada yada yada. When we multiply 3 times negative 1, we get negative 3. Okay, then I'm going to do negative 1 times a positive 2 is going to give us a negative 2. That's supposed to be 2. Supposed to be a 2. Alright, and then plus 2 squared. Now when we square a number, what that means is we are multiplying the base by itself however many times our exponent is. So in this case our base is a 2, our exponent's a 2, so 2 times 2 is 4. Alright, now our last step is we're going to have to distribute this negative 1 right here to the negative 2, so you get negative 3 plus 2 plus 4. And that's negative 3 plus 2 is a negative 1, plus 4 is positive 3. Okay? So as you can see, that we're just simplifying the expression, substituting in a number, and then evaluating it so we get our final answer to be a number. So here, there's the last one. This is the most difficult because there's a lot of stuff going on. We have x minus z divided by zy plus 3 times x times z. And again, everywhere you see an x, you're going to substitute in 5. Y substitute in negative 2. Z substitute in 3. So it's going to be 5 minus 3 over 3 times negative 2. And again, since multiplication is commutative, you could do negative 2 times 3. You'll get the same thing. Plus 3 times 5 times 3. Alright? So we'll simplify. 5 minus 3 is 2. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Plus 3 times 5 is 15 times 3 is 45. Okay? So now this is going to simplify down to negative 1/3. Because 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Plus 45. Alright, now in order to combine these two numbers, this really is a 45 over 1. And we need our fractions to have a common denominator. So the common denominator here is going to be 3. So now it becomes negative 1/3 plus 45 times 3 is 135 over 3, which when you combine them, since the denominators are the same, you add the numerators. Negative 1 plus 135 is 134 over 3. And let me see if that simplifies. I don't think it does, but I kind of made this problem up. So let me get my calculator out quick. 134 over 3. That is not going to simplify. So yeah, so our final answer is 134 over 3. Oops, and there goes the weird lines again. Alright, so if you have any questions on evaluating expressions, you can talk to me. You can Google it. You can watch this video again. A bunch of different things. But thanks for watching, and check out Derivative Dude for more videos.